Hello class, good morning, Namaste, and welcome to Occulted Abridged lecture for Intro to Interstellar Engineering, how to build an infinite energy device, and how to build an interstellar vehicle, aka what the mainstream would call a UFO until they wanted to disinform you even more and they started calling it a UAP. Means the same thing, an identified flying object, an identified aerial phenomena, and more importantly, I guess the infinite energy devices, it's all connected. So, without further ado, let us begin. As always, these lectures should be watched in order, lecture 0 to 9, but in reality, if there's ever one that I don't care if you don't watch anything else and you only watch one video on this channel, I'd prefer it be this one. Furthermore, before I begin explaining all this, I must say, I am sorry if I come off angry in this video. I already filmed it once and it didn't go very well, so this is my second time filming this class. You can tell by my attitude that this is a very sore subject for me because, like I said, I used to be an engineer in my day job until I quit it out of basically respect for this issue. So let us begin. I hope you had a good weekend. What is an infinite energy device? Let's start there. Interstellar technology. Well, interstellar, intrastellar, universal technology in this universe. Recapping from lecture 1, we must first go to, what is the universe? Our universe is a singularity, and then we had lecture 2 and 3 there to help tell you about yourself in terms of astrology, help you discover yourself, discover your life path. And we also had Intro to ETI to help you begin bridging connections with others, not just, our friends, our family, our neighbors, our lovers, but also, intelligences that aren't physical, as well as intelligences that might not look human from other planets. Yes, really. So, now we will begin talking about what we can do. What you and I, what other living things that manifest in the physical band of reality, what can we do with our lives here? Well, sorry about that, it's my cat. We can do a lot of things. First off, I must address, what is an infinite energy device? Mainstream physics and media would teach you, that this isn't possible. It breaks the second law of thermodynamics, conservation of energy. If we were to have an infinite energy circuit, i.e., a device that can put out more energy than required to start the system, wouldn't that be creating energy, Professor? Wouldn't that be creating energy? No, my friends, you are misunderstanding it, because every college, university on this planet, every school from the top down is actually telling you a misunderstanding. So we have this lecture to correct it. It's the biggest misunderstanding, quite frankly, that relative human history has gone through. Not getting too far ahead of ourselves because this is going to be later lectures, but the first relative infinite energy devices were built by Nikola Tesla. His work was continued by T. Townsend Brown, as Greer has put forth to Congress, the Klotzke-Frost experiment in Germany. They had figured out anti-grav circuits, not only infinite energy circuits, before, World War II even began happening, Don't get me started on the Russians and parametric oscillators for free energy devices. A lot of people are familiar with Stan Myers and his water-powered car. He got assassinated for that one. So, you can quickly see why I was so angry and why I'm re-recording this, Every single engineer on this planet that has stumbled upon these solutions or, figured out how to make a free energy device, is either slandered by the mainstream because the mainstream is quite literally told to, call anyone talking about this crazy, or they're bought out with obscene amounts of money, or they're, killed. Stan Myers was poisoned in a cafe. trying to sell a patent on his water engine. Rest in peace, Stan. Rest in peace, all the inventors that have lost their lives to this project. Let's take a quick moment of silence for them, because they've been trying to help humanity, and they've lost their lives doing so. Namaste. There's more than that. I'm not getting too far ahead of ourselves again, that's for more history, but a quick overview. So what is an infinite energy circuit? People would tell you that you can't make an infinite energy circuit. Well, what is the universe we live in? Remember, our universe is stemmed out of a singularity. An all thing is no thing. Back in 2022's classes, we call this the 0 equals 1 infinity, because this is how we would describe it in mathematics. And we also have the, bimodal bifurcation diagram video to kind of describe how that plays out into manifesting reality. Right? Right. And, our good friend Michio Kaku would tell you that if you were to add up all the spins, all the gravitational things of all the galaxies, all the star stuff, what would we get, Michio? We'd get a big fat 0. Right, because our universe, remember, is a singularity. It is a 0 equals 1 singularity. And if you'd again, if this information is still confusing to you, please go back, check other videos here in the Occulted playlist, or last year's lectures, but how does that play out? Well, the first step after singularity is polarity. Let there be light, as they say. So, this is the first step in foundationing our universe. This is the first step in which our universe is manifested from. What does that mean in terms of physics, engineering? What does that mean? Energy. In terms of energy, everything is, well, we call this source energy to not get it confused with what we call energy in modern physics, i.e. the ability to do work. So, we're not going to talk about source energy too much, because largely the energy of layman's terms, the ability to do work, i.e. the ability to drive your car down the road, the ability to, cook your food on a stovetop. This is just a different kind of source energy. So we'll use these words interchangeably this lecture. And our universe must begin from a singularity, a rest, a 0. This 0 is our base layer, our backdrop. But we know that the universe exists. We live in the universe. The universe is energy. E equals mc squared equals q, consciousness. Right? Yes. So, our 0 equals 1 here, at the base layer of our universe, our yin, our yang, this is the infinite energy potential. Infinite energy potential. Notice those words. The potential, the ability, the stored, the rest, to have something manifest, have energy, have work be done, is infinite, because our universe is infinite. So, our yin, our yang, our 0 equals 1 is really a potential. A 0, rest energy, to 1, infinite universal energy. All of the energy that encompasses the universe, and they must equal one another. Because this is the energy band of which the universe plays out, and if we could convert this diagram to fit in here, we would. This is the bounds of our universe, the 0 to 1, but they hook back onto one another. See, it's an infinity, it must hook within itself. So, our universe has an infinite potential of energy. The real question is then, how do we tap it? How do we tap it, class? Well, when I was going through my undergrad at Purdue University in electrical and computer engineering, I came across the work of not only Dr. Stephen M. Greer, as I said, but Dr. Stephen M. Greer is I would say, a friend of the deceased Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Bearden. I've referenced his work many a times. Rest in peace, Bearden, and other YouTubers like Dutch Sense have as well. And here, is not only was a military contractor and not only built things that were considered anti-grav and had his life threatened over it, but he's built infinite energy devices and has spent most of his life trying to educate the public about it, except, you know, he was slandered. God, good God, they call him all sorts of bad names. But Thomas Bearden, how should we build an infinite energy circuit if we must conserve energy and matter? You know, the conservation of energy is still true. You know, the universe still has a conservation of energy, even if it is a infinite potential. Bearden, how do we build an infinite energy circuit?
And T.D. Lee, for example, looked at it for physical charges and so forth, and Lee won a Nobel Prize for it. Any dipole is a broken symmetry in the furious exchange with a vacuum. It's a broken three-dimensional symmetry. What does this mean? Cutting through all the words and getting down to country boy language. It means that nature does not insist on conserving energy in three dimensions. We do because we have a three-dimensional mind. We like to think in terms of space because observation itself destroys time and what we look at is spatial. So we like to think the world is made of space, not space-time. However, nature loves to work in four dimensions. Her fundamental law is conservation of energy must apply in four dimensions. Now, you're not going to beat that one, so never think about that. But there is no law of nature that requires you to come in and say, also it must apply simultaneously in three dimensions. If we build some gadget that makes it apply in three dimensions, we apply an extra constraint on what nature will give us. Turning that around, we go around building things that insist on having this three-dimensional exchange of energy. We got to put it in three dimensions for whatever we get out and lose some in the middle, so we got a terrible situation all the way. It's called entropic engineering. We always got entropy beating us to death. Never go over unity, forget it, lose a lot. We talk about, you know, efficiencies at 30% and so forth for our power systems when we talk about burning the coal and all that stuff. But nature doesn't require you to do that. All you have to do is break a little bit of this three symmetry set of chains where you have tied her feet to the floor. Once you break the flow in three dimensions, you no longer have to conserve energy in three dimensions. The basic conservation of energy is an inflow from four dimensions, outflow in three dimensions. From the fourth dimension converted and flowed out into three. And that one is free. Giant negentropy is free. Nature will start reorganizing a goodly percentage of the whole vacuum for you, spreading at the speed of light, and will continue it as long as you leave the dipole alone.
Realizing that the conservation of energy must exist in four dimensions of space and time. We're not going to beat that one. We're not going to beat it. But there's nothing that makes it apply in three dimensions. Nothing that makes it apply in two or one. So, you see now that what we're really doing when we're building an infinite energy circuit is we're creating a resonance tuning fork onto the infinite energy potential, the 0-point layer, the background energy of the universe. And we're then not limited by, you know, our devices. We're literally just limited by, you know, how big can we make this tuning fork. It's why we could, quite literally, and ETIs have, made UFOs, unidentified flying objects, you know, entire ships that could be the size of a planet. It's also why you wanted to go around the universe seeing things like a Dyson sphere, you know, some silly, you know, three-dimensional solution to capture energy from a star. No, no, no. Any true interstellar civilization has come across the bare truth that you don't need to capture energy from the sun. You don't need to, you know, burn your planet to the ground through chopping down trees or burning coal or oil to make energy, or harnessing, you know, wind from windmills or water from a hydroelectric dam that destroys our biosphere. No, they understand the simple truth that if you take a certain kind of earth element that is conductive to the electrical field, you can create a resonant tuning fork on yourself and tap into this 0-point energy field. Now, how does this actually happen? I'll demonstrate this with a simple example for you. You know when a speaker gets on stage and they're holding that microphone up and there's that ear-piercing ringing? That is actually a form of wave, a standing wave of energy. What actually happens there? You know, the speaker gets on, clicks the microphone on, and the system's not yet adjusted. It's not yet calibrated. So, some sounds go into that microphone, and they go through the cord, through the audio system, and out the speakers. Those speakers play this sound, which goes through the air, gets trapped back into the microphone, and you see what we've done. We've created a snake eating its own tail, an Ouroboros situation. Our universe is an Ouroboros. We created a loop, a cyclic loop, a resonant structure within this microphone speaker feedback system. And everybody knows from anyone that's watched the live show that, you know, if they don't turn down the speaker, get the system adjusted, it's going to make it more and more louder of an ear-piercing ringing sound. This is a standing wave of energy where you keep pulsing a system and stacking up energy. Now, if we weren't to correct this, we'd build this wave up so much to where we'd probably either blow out the microphone, blow out the cable, or blow out the speakers making the sound, and we'd, you know, burn it out. These systems would fizzle, burn up, because they're not designed to handle this kind of standing wave feedback system. But there's nothing stopping us now in today's modern society, you know, having modern semiconductors and computers and microcontrollers, from designing such a circuit to pulse energy into a cyclic feedback system and having it be controlled by a little computer, and taking some of this stacked resonant field energy, occasionally siphoning it back off into the pulse signal, and the computer that is controlling the pulses of energy into the resonant feedback system, as well as deciding when this wave of energy should be siphoned off to power, oh, I don't know, your car, your stove, you know, anything for free. Why are people assassinated for this? Because your planet Earth is run off of, as I've said in lecture 0 to now, oil, wage, banking, slavery. If every human on this planet Earth had the ability to afford one of these, or just, you know, have society collectively make them for all of us, because it's quite frankly a God-given right of all living things to be able to build these for ourselves and our collective good, you'd realize that what we do today, you know, like I said, mining coal and oil and gas out of the ground, we're doing this because it serves a financial hierarchy, a structure. Some people call this a hierarchy, you know, and other times in civilization we call these kingdoms, but what is it really, since it's halting our growth and development as a human species on this planet? This is a dictatorship. This planet lives in a dictatorship currently, under an oil and banking cartel. Do what they say, or they'll kill you. Quite frankly. So you can see how this is quite a triggering topic for me. You know, I'm in the position where I don't want to do what they say. I want freedom for this planet. You, me, everybody that would be considered a civilian, a have-not. 99.999% of the human population, no matter how much wealth they have, is technically a have-not on this planet, i.e. they're not interstellar, because the people that are interstellar on this planet, quite frankly, they got there before you and I were even born, my friend. Most of us were even born. Like I said, Nikola Tesla was first creating these devices back in, like, you know, the late 1800s, early 1900s, and as soon as he died, the FBI seized his paper, as Greer said. So, you can see how long the haves have had a chance to develop things like not only, you know, the ability to have an infinite energy device, but what can an infinite energy device do, since that's really the first step to interstellar, intra-universal technology. An infinite energy device can not only power your car for free, power your, you know, stovetop for free, it could do things like since, you know, physicists in the mainstream would tell you a lot of things from science fiction are not possible because we don't have the energy means to do it, you know, teleportation from Star Trek, incepting food into reality from, like, you know, Back to the Future, you know, all these things are science fiction, you know, materializing things into reality at no material cost. These are very possible. It's just that you've all been brainwashed and been paid from the top down, because this planet exists in the hierarchy, to believe that it's not possible. That anyone that tells you that we can build these things is a lunatic. Not only that, they want you to be so hopeless that you don't even want to take it upon yourself to learn how to do it, to learn how to make these, to believe that you can do it. They want you to believe that you can't. And that's why I came to this planet. I came here to teach you all that we can, and to help give you hope, to inspire you that these things are possible. We have to want to do it. The only limiting factor is your consciousness. So if you sit there believing, you know, I could never learn these kinds of physics, I could never build such a device, well, you've already thrown in your towel. You've already thrown in your towel. So, the main thing I want you to take away from this lecture, I know we have gone way over today, there's so much information here, is be positive. We can do it. We can make these devices. We can make our society a utopia. What would that look like? Well, not that I'm any authority on the topic of a utopian society or anything like that, but what would at least a better society with liberated free energy devices look like? Imagine going to a grocery store where instead of aisles of produce, of slaughtered animals and, you know, refined goods, we simply have electromagnetic switches that can incept food into reality from your pure thought. What sounds good for me today? You walk into a store, you walk up to a machine, it might be, you know, machine controlled, it might have a pad, you just stand by it, it scans your brainwave frequency of what your food you're thinking of. Today I would love an Impossible hamburger, a vegan hamburger for those who don't know, and through electromagnetic resonance and vibrating material fields together, it takes a memory or a thought of what you think a hamburger is, and it aligns the space-time 0-point field pixels together electromagnetically to form it into reality. Zero energy cost, zero pollution cost, pure atomically aligned food, not artificial, not riddled with disease, not fake, cooked to the perfect temperature every time. That's just the beginning. Not to mention that no pollutants from cars, gas, oil. We don't need electrical companies and water utility companies, because why would we have a, you know, complex housing system hooked up with, you know, plumbing and shit when we could just have a inceptor or a deceptor. Electromagnetically, we could, instead of a faucet with a hydro system, we just have a small, another electromagnetic resonance field switch that creates hydrogen H2O, you know, molecules, 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen. That would be where we would start, you know. That would just create a clean water stream into reality. Not only that, you know, people go about desalinization of salt water. We need more fresh water on the planet. Well, say we don't even get to, you know, incepting a clean water switch. We could have desalinization of water like that, because an infinite energy device circuit means that energy is of no cost. It's not of any cost. The universe is free energy. The universe is energy. E equals mc squared. It's been there since the dawn of time, and it'll persist until the beginning again. The real question is, when do we begin, you and I, every civilian on this planet, begin educating ourselves to where this can't be suppressed anymore? where we just all accept, every civilian accepts that this is how it should be, and that's where we will put our civilian dollars, our time, our money, our effort, our corporations to make the lives of us, you and me, good. Not only for you and me, but for people's children, their children's children. The evolution of this planet can be beautiful, or we can spend it in fear, giving our power away to somebody else that just, has us live in oil wage banking slavery because the cabal of this planet have already liberated themselves and would rather watch us suffer and fight and kill each other and hate than us work together to make this planet wonderful. So, I'm way over on this lecture, I am sorry, but I think we'll have to end it there today. I do want you guys to stay positive. I would love it if you'd share this video. I really would. It would help not only me and this channel out a lot, but quite literally you, me, your kids' kids. The sooner we get these devices into the public is only dependent upon how many people know about it. Quite literally. And I did promise you I'd teach you how to build a UFO and interstellar vehicle, so let me do that really quick and we'll cut the video immediately. An interstellar vehicle. Well, when we before we build, we have to walk before we can run, people. So, how an infinite energy device might work is, well, consider that this is accepted. In a wire, we have electrical field passing, and when this electrical field passes, we have a magnetic field curling off of it. Okay? Now, an electric field induces a magnetic field. Yes, this is true. An electric field effect induces a magnetic field effect. The vice versa is not true. A magnetic field, if I were to hold a bar magnet by a copper wire, would not induce an electrical field. Instead, I'd have to move that bar magnet, that electrical, to create an electrical field. So, this should show you that how fields tied together in this hologram of the universe are stackable, dependent upon their movement, their acceleration, their jerk, their dimensional axis of how the field plays out. So, how do we build a UFO? We essentially have to create not a moving, permanent bar magnet, but we have to accelerate a magnetic field. We have to speed up or slow down the rate of change of a magnetic field at such great magnitudes, i.e. at such great energetic densities, that we begin to warp space and time. We can do this by creating a standing electromagnetic resonant wave, much like how we could do with a standing wave to create a zero-point energy source. And by doing so, we could eventually get that material to be mass cancelled, because the mass of an object is largely due to the fact that the energy of the zero-point pixel or the atoms, what have you, is not in energetic form like maybe the electromagnetic field, but it's stuck down the Higgs inertial field where, the electron is spinning around the proton of an atom, and this keeps the universal zero-point pixel energy stuck down and manifested, dense, in a dense layer, because the energy density is confined to this electron orbiting. Not, so if we were to make this system and have these magnetic fields compress into a center, we're creating such a large standing wave of accelerating magnetic energy that it begins affecting the scalar potential, the electric energy of electrons around individual atoms. And the fact that these electrons spin around atoms, any atom in the periodic table, is what gives this something its mass, really. So if we stop this spin, we're converting energy out of the Higgs, physical field, and we're converting it into the electromagnetic field. This is why you don't see propulsion off of UFOs. Yes, the gimbal, go fast, tic-tac, these are human-made UFOs. I'm getting ahead of ourselves, that's next lecture, but point is, why are these illegal? Why they want you to believe humans don't make these is because if you guys actually knew how these damn things worked, you'd understand that we haven't needed gasoline cars for the past 100 years. So, what is a UFO at the end of the day? Well, yeah, it's a spaceship to go to a different galaxy, but at its heart, it's an alternative energy and propulsion device. So, that's why I spend more of this lecture talking to you about how to build an infinite energy circuit and why we need to start investing all of our society's time to making us aware of it, to accept that yes, it's true, it's not bullshit, and we need to start inspiring the people going through school today to begin building them. Because once that happens, well, hell, a UFO, a flying object to get us to go to a different star system, that goes right there. No rocket fuel needed, no Elon Musk, stuff. Poor Elon stuck on rocket fuel, and here I am teaching you guys about anti-grav circuits. Alright, that's it for class. I'll see you guys tomorrow when we will be talking about political implications. I promise the lectures will be back to 10 minutes long. This is probably going to be the longest one in all of Abridged's Occulted Abridged series, just because of the density of the information. So, I hope it helped you. Please like, share, and subscribe to the video. Really please, and help us get to an interstellar planet. Namaste, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.